Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of What's the Tea? This is episode 4, and I am happy to be back. Had to take off an extra week for Thanksgiving break to spend some time with family, but now I am back. But I'll tell you one thing I did do is play some games over that break. I replayed some things, and that brings me into the first thing I wanted to talk about. Final Fantasy 15. It has now been 8 years since this game's release. Oh boy, that had to sink in pretty hard. That was a great game, even on release. I know it is kind of divisive for a lot of people, and even for me, there is a lot of things that I actively dislike about it. However, the things that it does right, the things that I love about it, are so good. Everything feels so epic and large. The summons are so fantastic. The exploration is satisfying, and there is no other game that really gives you that sense of let's go on a road trip with the boys, but in a fantasy world, like no other game has given me that. And if they can match this game's energy, I am all for it because I really do love this game. And it turning 8 makes me feel very old. And on a side note, I'm actually playing the Pocket Edition of this, and it's actually kind of wonderful. It's more like an old Final Fantasy game. If you are into old Final Fantasy, actually check that out. Check out the Pocket Edition of it because it's actually pretty great. Now, if you follow gaming news, you will have seen a lot of stuff happening this week. Oh man. If you're a casual, you probably haven't heard. We got developers spouting crap at other developers, ex-developers criticizing other ones for political reasons. But then you had good old Destiny 2, who has at least the same old problems. The thing you can at least expect is consistency. Bugs. Man, bugs. My lord. So I did not cover Act 2 of Revenant this last week, or week before now. I had a lot of things to do, and frankly, it was very buggy for me. I had to redo certain parts of the quests, and then my recording software wasn't working quite correctly, and it just did not work out, man. And with Thanksgiving coming, I just said, you know what? I'm going to worry about family, and we're doing that. But I did return. I did play through the rest of Act 2, and it was good. I enjoyed it. However, this game is falling apart at the seams, man. Like, it's so obvious at this point. And I love Destiny. The property, period. Even the studio, love Bungie. Don't like the people in charge, but I hope for Destiny to be better. However, this week and recently it has just gotten worse and worse. There was an entire thing on the Waitgate conspiracy that actually turned out to be true. Putting that in a concise way of saying it, we basically farmed for weapons that we had like a 1 in 100th chance of getting when we thought we had like 1 in 30, So it makes a lot of that time feel wasted. It feels bad. Like this, it was bad. Like that is a bad thing to happen. Waitgate. But now, this season, we got Tonic Gate. Oh my God, Bungie. Oh. So, like, recently, Bungie laid off a ton of their staff. And there's no way this has nothing to do with that because this has been one of the buggiest seasons ever. This season started with a list of known bugs. Super disabled for the dungeon. Exotics disabled for different classes for almost game-breaking amounts of damage that weren't supposed to be happening. Ignitions weren't working correctly. They were scaling down the more you use them and doing less and less damage. Like just so much. And now the central mechanic of the season, tonics, which are basically, if you don't know, they're potions that you can have for different effects, whether that's for damage, it is for weapon RNG to kind of target farm specific things, armor and weapons, or even just resources. But now we have figured out they're not working. Or at least a big section of them aren't working. The Tomb of Elders tonics, which are the ones that need to be working because that's this season's tonics. That's this season's new weapons. But when we are using these, they're not giving us the weapons that they list on there. They're giving us the one to the right of them, right? So it's like they got a whole column wrong and shifted it over. And so no one has been getting the correct things. This is just a downward trend in constant bugs, man. And it was already kind of scary for Destiny now that we have the final shape, which marks pretty much the end of most people's journey and what they had kind of committed to. But now we're just kind of floating along in these seasons without direction. And like there's an interesting story being told, sure, like the 2 seasons haven't been bad by any means, but it still hasn't justified its existence again. Like, and that usually doesn't have to be a thing, but for a live service that you wouldn't need to come back to, that you've already been for 10 years, that is so critical. We need that. And so I hope Bungie can get it together. I really hope they can get these bugs sorted out. Like the quality control has gone down way bad and it needs to go back up. Hire more people if you need to, Bungie, because now right after you lay people off, this stuff starts getting worse and worse and worse. Your seams are showing. So, ooh, that's a rough one. Let's talk about something happy. Well, depending on how you play it. Baldur's Gate 3. I am finally, like, full speed ahead into this game. My girlfriend and I have been playing with a friend of mine and his wife very regularly on every Monday, just doing our own little campaign. And I was just kind of using that as my base playthrough, just doing it over time, you know, but I got really into it, man. I love the old Baldur's Gate and I love me some RPG. And it was fun for a while, but it got its hooks in me and now I am playing it a lot. I have it both on PlayStation 5 and PC. I've been primarily playing on PC. I haven't delved into mods or anything yet. I play a bunch of a game and finish it before I ever try mods. That's just how I do things. But like, even so, this game is expansive, man. It has been a shock. And now I can really see why people call it a game of the generation, because there is so much to this game. It's so big and there's so many choices to make. And I just love existing in it. It's just one of those you can just go around and exist in. And that's not a feeling you get a lot these days, especially as, you know, a parent gamer or even just an adult gamer, period. Like there's a lot of worries these days and it takes a lot for a game to be, you know, something special to pull you in like that. And it's been something special to play Baldur's Gate 3. It really has. And I've gotten my buddies into it, and now they have just announced here recently that it's going to be receiving crossplay. Dude, I have been saying since this started, since this came out, I hadn't even got it yet, but I was like, you know what would be awesome is if everyone could just join each other's game. Unify everyone playing D&D. Boom. Genius. And then they came out with this and I was so happy. Am so happy. And not even just that, they're adding a photo mode, a very in-depth photo mode at that, and 12 new subclasses so you can play the game again, even if you played it to death already, completely differently. And so just when you thought you were out, guys, you're coming back. He's pulling you back in. Man, this is a great game, and I will probably make a video on it by itself, its own. I think it really deserves its own video, you know. So look forward to that in the future. I am not sure when that's coming because this is a long game, but it will come in the future. Hopefully, in this month. I do hope to have it finished so that this next year can be a clean slate for working on backlog stuff, and then just keeping up with the goods. And in some other very strange news, the Game Awards have done something very strange this year and are allowing DLC to be nominated for Game of the Year. Now, I will absolutely defend the fact that some DLC probably should have just been their own game, and some games should have been DLC, let's be honest. Looking at you, Modern Warfare 3, you know. But dude, this ain't it, Jeff. This ain't it. Oh boy, where to start here? Shadow of the Erd Tree is going to be nominated for Game of the Year. Now, I have no problem with it winning some accolades because I've heard it's great. I have not played it, but it's Elden Ring. I'm assuming it's probably going to be pretty damn good. So I understand why the thought process of why maybe be here. I've heard some people defend this decision, and I can honestly understand where they're coming from. It's its own game worth of content. It does something, out of the ordinary. And I heard a lot of people compare it to Blood and Wine from Witcher 3, and that I have played. And that is a wonderful thing to be compared to because that DLC is a cut above the rest. It is so good. But this ain't it. You need something else here. There are other things that came out this year that could be in this spot. And as controversial as some of those might be, some might not agree, I think it makes still more sense than this, because by definition, you can't just play a DLC. And especially this one, because from what I've read and what I've heard, you still need to play quite a bit of the base game in Elden Ring to get to this DLC. Like I said, I haven't played it, but that is what I've been reading from a lot of people, and that's kind of a unanimous thing I've been reading, so I'm inclined to believe it. And if that is the case, then this shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be here. You cannot play a DLC by definition. You get to play the game that the DLC is attached to. The DLC is a level. It's an expansion of a game. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. And one final note before I leave everyone here. Path of Exile 2 is coming out soon. That's all. I'm super damn excited for this game. Who else is going to be playing it? Who else is going to be no life in this, huh? I know Indiana Jones is coming too, but bro, this looks so good. I'm definitely going to play Indiana Jones, but Path of Exile 2 is going to scratch the hell out of that itch. The Diablo 4 it couldn't keep scratching. It scratched it a little, but god dang it, it still itches. I need something to scratch it some more. So Path of Exile 2 is that thing, and hopefully this Friday, I'm going to be knee deep in it. Maybe on the weekend, make a video or two just to say hi to you guys again. So maybe look forward to that. But until the next episode of What is the Tea, or the next video, I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for stopping by and listening to me ramble on about the few things this week that I wanted to talk about. Have a nice rest of your day.